Sounds like hush money to me. Not doing it, not taking it.
When Jennette McCurdy booked the role of Sam Puckett in Nickelodeon's hit series iCarly, she became part of a league of teen celebs that included actresses like Miranda Cosgrove and Ariana Grande. But Jennette had a life that was hidden away in the shadows of the spotlight. And there's so much more to her story than you can imagine, especially the death of her stage mother and how it kept her trapped in some negative habits for years. Just wait till you find out why she decided to name her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. From physical abuse inflicted by her own mother to the horrors she experienced as a teenager in Hollywood, Jennette McCurdy's life is actually much darker than you think. And today we're looking at all the dark details of her personal life that we missed while Jennette was growing up on our screens. The parent wanting their child to live their dream and become something they never got a chance to be is a tale as old as time, especially in Hollywood. And that's exactly how things started to fall apart in Jennette McCurdy's life. By age 6, Jennette was frequenting auditions with her mom. Deborah was a force to be reckoned with, and she was not willing to give up her dreams of fame and fortune, despite the fact that Jennette wasn't interested in acting at first. But the young girl started putting more effort into it when her mother's desires became the only thing that mattered, which was one of the first toxic, people-pleasing lessons Jennette learned early. From audition to audition, Jennette and her mom went in search for the big break, and every single aspect of it was decided by her eager-to-be stage mom, even down to her wardrobe, which usually the same. Fuzzy pink shirt with a rhinestone heart in the center of it, black faux leather skirts, and black go-go boots, according to Jennette's memoir. After a failed audition where Jennette couldn't cry on cue, she told her mother that she wanted to quit acting. As she recounts in her book, Mom's face looks like she just ate a lemon. It contorts in a way that terrifies me. I know what's coming next. You can't quit, she sobs. This was our chance. This was our chance. So Jennette gave in. She kept going to the auditions and trying her hardest to make her mother happy, and she eventually got her big break when she landed the role of Sam Puckett in 2007. When the call came in, her thought was that, Mom will finally be happy. Her dream has come true. But it was only the first step in a career that took away her identity and her independence. Sam Puckett was the career-making role for Jennette, and her mother knew this, so she became even more dominating. Everything Jennette McCurdy did was a direct order or decision from her mother. Deborah would wash her daughter's hair, shave her legs, and give her showers up until she was 16 years old. Jennette was not allowed to use the bathroom or shower alone, and her diet was heavily restricted. Jennette didn't have any independence or identity, not even in choosing her favorite color, which was pink because her mom's favorite color was also pink. While her career blossomed, Jennette's personal life was growing darker and darker. There was this half of my life that was so cheesy and so polished and so glossy and so fake, she told the Washington Post in 2022. And then there was this other part of my life that was so painful and real and raw and hurting, and that part was going completely unseen. That other part started with her mother's pressure and overwhelming involvement in Jennette's career and life. But it soon became something that Jennette couldn't control or even identify until it got worse. Way worse than you can imagine. Jennette McCurdy grew up in a low-income Mormon home in Orange County, where she and her brothers were homeschooled. Her mother's words and actions were the law, and that included checking Jennette's chest and private parts for cancerous lumps. Deborah had previously battled with cancer, so instead of protesting the invasion of her privacy and outright abuse, Jennette writes that she usually just tried to think of Disneyland when Mom's doing the exams, adding that she felt a huge wave of relief when they were over. But she didn't recognize the abuse that was going on, and Deborah did her best to keep it private. Jennette told the Washington Post that, I now see it as conditioning, but at the time I thought, oh, Mommy and me have a relationship that's so special. Like when you have a best friend and you have all these secrets, and that feels like a form of intimacy. That's exactly what my mom did with me. Only it wasn't friendship. It was abuse. And it didn't stop with the lack of privacy. Deborah was a heavy influence on Jennette's complicated relationship with food while growing up. Her mother was at the opinion that the younger Jennette looked, the better for her career, and younger equals slimmer, so she started conditioning Jennette's feeding habits as early as when she was 11 years old. Of course, people around them were concerned about the young girl's rapid weight loss, but according to Jennette, Deborah never let their worries take root. What would happen if anybody tried to step in was my mom would completely turn off toward them. She'd go cold, she told the Washington Post. Like, she could not be challenged. But there was one place where Deborah couldn't control her daughter's eating, and sadly, she didn't need to. Jennette's character on iCarly, Sam Puckett, was iconic for eating large amounts of food, which meant that Jennette had to stuff her face on set. But her mother's pressure was so strong that Jennette developed habits that helped her get rid of the food she was consuming on set. Remembering that time in her life, Jennette said, "It's tragically hilarious. It made me so anxious because my character was constantly eating, but I was not capable of facing the eating disorder for myself. So of course, I wasn't capable of saying, hey, I'm actually really struggling with this, so can we not?" And that was one of the ways Jennette's mom maintained indirect control of her personal life and habits. But there was a different authority in her professional life, and this is the person Jennette refers to as the creator. After Jennette lost her childhood to her mom's dreams, she lost her teenage years and early 20s battling the negative Hollywood dynamics. When she worked at Nickelodeon in the iCarly series, and later the spin-off Sam and Cat, Jennette McCurdy was under the direction of showrunner and creator Dan Schneider, and that's the person fans suspect Jennette referred to as the creator in her memoir and the interview she has given since it was published. As the Twitter account for An Open Secret wrote, "We believe Jennette McCurdy was referring to Dan Schneider as the creator in her forthcoming book. We have been talking about Schneider repeatedly for many years." And Jennette had a lot to say about the creator and the role he played in the darkening of her life and career. In her book, Jennette talks about the numerous uncomfortable encounters she had with the creator, who was mean, terrifying, and abusive. She also mentioned how she constantly felt on edge, desperate to please, terrified of stepping out of line. One time at dinner, the creator applied a lot of pressure to convince Jennette to drink alcohol. She was 18 years old, and the creator's convincing argument was that the Victorious kids get drunk together all the time. The iCarly kids are so wholesome. We need to give you guys a little edge. So she indulged him, and he reminded her that he had given her a new show, despite the fact that iCarly was ending. Minutes after he made her partake in underage drinking, Jennette writes that the creator said to her, "I could give a new show to anyone, you know, but I didn't choose anyone. I chose you." The show that the creator was talking about was the spin-off series, Sam and Cat, and it wasn't quite the exciting experience he told Jennette it would be. In 2013, the same year that Jennette's mother died, she got a spin-off show, Sam and Cat, with Victorious star Ariana Grande. Their characters were best friends, but off-camera, there was no love lost between the actresses. They weren't enemies, but Jennette had a lot of resentment towards Ariana, or more specifically, the differences in their careers. In her memoir, she talked about how Ariana was encouraged to pursue her music career while filming the series, but Jennette wasn't given the same privilege. She wrote, "I have to turn down movies while Ariana's off whistle-toning at the Billboard Music Awards." But Jennette didn't have to deal with the animosity she felt for too long, though. Sam and Cat was canceled after one season, and by the time Jennette was leaving Nickelodeon, the network allegedly offered her $300,000. Her team thought about it as a thank you gift, but it came with a clause. Jennette accepting the money would have meant that she could not publicly discuss her experience with Nickelodeon. She told her team, "This feels to me like hush money," and she refused to keep quiet, so she didn't accept the money, as she told ABC News. "But I am ultimately proud of my decision there, wherever it came from. Even if it was informed by self-righteousness, I think I did something that was really hard to do." And from then on, she chose to live her truth, a truth we all found out almost 9 years later when she released her dark and personal memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. When her mother died, Jennette felt lost. Her mother had established unhealthy eating and lifestyle habits for her, and Jennette struggled to get free from the conditioning. But it wasn't easy. She told ABC News in August 2022, "I was never aiming for bulimia. I was attempting to have anorexia, but I couldn't keep it up without my mom. So then that would lead to I'd starve starve myself for so long. And then I'd binge and then I'd purge because I hated the feeling of fullness, hated it. And after her mom died, Jennette had to deal with life going forward. The road was hard, but worth it. Talking to ABC News about her journey to healing, she remembers that she couldn't think of her mom as abusive for a long time. But after deciding to leave acting behind, she found her way to accept her truth. As she told the Washington Post, coming to terms with the reality of what my life had been was not simple. It was not painless. It was through consistent work and exploration that it became freeing and healing. I'm grateful for the financial stability that career provided me. And I'm grateful for friendships I've made. And I'm grateful that it put me on the path that I'm in now. There's no active form of dysfunction in my life at all. I'm in a good place, which is such a weird thing to say. I feel more fulfilled than I ever have, and I wish it wasn't new, but it is very new for me. The pressure of being a successful child actor often results in negative events that they have to live with as an adult, and Jennette McCurdy is healing from her dark life in Hollywood, one day at a time. What do you think about the fact that there is so much abuse that goes unnoticed in Hollywood? Do you think there is anything to be done to protect kids like Jennette? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to like this video and subscribe to The Chronicle for more inside stories on your favorite celebrities.